All right, guys, what is up? It's Eric here. Wanted to make this little video real quick to kind of touch on finding entry points when it comes to trading, especially like if you're using the alerts or just, trading in general. I know I haven't been able to make videos in a while. I do apologize since the beginning of the year has been very, very busy. So it's been a lot harder for me to kind of, do this on a more occasional basis. I mean, obviously, as you guys know, I am still, trading throughout the day, but I just don't have too much time to kind of sit there and like, do videos and things like that, just because there's so much, going on. But of course, as, time goes on and I have, more free time, hopefully later on in the summer, stuff like that, I'll be able to do more of these more often. Um, so I just wanted to kind of make this video real quick, just kind of help you guys out, with what's going on in the market. Things have still been kind of, stagnant lately, um, just in the market in general. But I figured this would help a lot of you guys out who haven't had time to kind of like do your own, you know, practicing and reviewing and stuff like that. So I figured just kind of touching on entry points will be a really quick video to make for you guys and kind of give you an idea of what I'd be looking at when it comes to, trading. Obviously, I still post like my trading results into the Facebook group for you guys to just kind of look at, some of the trades, the one or two trades I take throughout the day. Again, been too, busy with just life in general. I mean, even just yesterday, I found out my grandmother passed, so I haven't had time, on top of that, there's a billion other things that I got to deal with on a day-to-day basis. So that's why trading works out well for me. I only have to spend, a couple hours at the most a day just trying to make money, which is, fairly easier as you have more free time. But, this is why I want to help you guys get to that ability to do something like that in case, your life might be just as hectic as well too, but you still need to make, decent money. And the more you guys learn, the better. But yeah, let's kind of go ahead and just dive into reviewing this trade here real quick today, Um, CXAI was the one that I took today here. As you can see, um, we got the alert on it. This morning, pre-market was kind of trash. It wasn't really nothing happening this morning. Really, banking and AI stocks have been probably like the hottest thing in the markets so far these last few weeks. Obviously, AI for a reason, but of course, banking has been kind of hot because of the fact of what's going on in the financial markets. But AI has been leading and been producing the most profits. In fact, I trade CXAI a couple of times and banked on it. Even today, I did two trades in and outs, and I'll just kind of recover what I was looking at to execute these trades. Wasn't much. It was just like a couple $100 for each trade. But hey, a couple $100, day after day after day, that definitely adds up. And this is again our job as day traders and what we do. So let's just kind of talk about this trade, right? Let's just kind of go off at the beginning and how I kind of can first, get this, idea to look at this trade. Obviously, again, I know technologies AI has been a hot stock. CXAI we've traded already previously, but even today, again, day by day, I'm just looking at different entry points and exit points, right? So let's say, for example, we got alerted with it earlier this morning, like right around pre-market. I don't know why my mouse has been acting crazy today, or not today, but just lately. But ever since my computer and all this stuff has been happening, I had to reset my whole computer, guys. If that wasn't enough another things, like I had to literally wipe my computer clean. And I'm not even the most tech savvy person. I spent like 3 days having to do that on top of like refixing the alerts and things like that. But also too, someone tried to like hack the website, so I had to fix that. I mean, it's just been so much going on lately that's been preventing me from do all these things like this for you guys. So that's why I wanted to make this video real quick to let you guys know, I am still here. I am still trading. I just been too busy to kind of keep recapping everything. But again, the first alert we got was CXAI was right before the market opened, that the volume was pushing up. And again, this was on the radar just because of the fact that it had some movement, after hours. I mean, pre-market. So it was obviously something that you should have been looking at going into the market, not knowing what's going to be moving because again, volume was very light, but still something to keep on your radar to see if you can find yourself an entry and exit, right? So obviously, I got that lined up on my watch list and I'm looking at it, right? Now let's kind of talk about where am I looking at for entries and exits, for this kind of stock. What kind of attracted me the most to it was when it broke another high, and the fact that it was holding along the volume weighted average price, especially during pre-market, was very, very interesting to me. Excuse me. And then it got more interesting coming around this section here, and I'll show you guys why. So obviously, pre-market highs, which is what I teach you guys in that little beginning course, is something that's important, right? The pullback on it wasn't that much. Now, obviously, let's pretend you don't see none of that coming up here. This would make you think that, oh, it's not much happening, it's not much happening, especially if you're like, right at the opening bell, no movement's happening, it's dropping, and it's below the volume weighted average price. So you're probably thinking, oh, this is going to be a bearish stock. Most traders will keep their eye off of it, right? And then, which is perfectly fine. I glanced away from it a little bit, trying to look and see if anything else was moving. However, what should have caught you again there too was this right here when it broke the high, because this right here is going to be the high of the day so far. So then it broke the high again. That lets you know that momentum is coming in. It's above the volume weighted average price. And obviously, it's trending up nicely between the moving average, or if you're using the Squeeze Pro indicator, which is kind of similar to the moving average convergence divergence. And this right here is the vortex indicator. You can look that stuff up on your own time, but I was using these two as well too as really good key indicators to decide whether or not I'm going to get into the trade or not. So this right here caught my eye, right? So I'm seeing that it broke the new high, and again, that's like in the 920 area. So my first trade that I got in, I decided like if it does pull back, I'm going to be expecting the zone of pullback to be anywhere between the $8.60 to $9 range, right? So this is what I was looking at here from like roughly around this area to a little bit above this area. That's why I was waiting on a pullback. And lo and behold, after that initial pop where it caught my eye, I waited for the pullback, couple of minutes, and that's pretty much where support was starting to show there, which is good. And obviously, with the moving average, with the Squeeze Pro indicator, it's showing you that sellers are getting exhausted. No one's trying to cash out. They're still holding the stock. And even the Vortex indicators let me know that, hey, sellers are on top right now. And this is pretty much where the price is staying at for the sellers at this point. So now at this point, all the sellers are exhausted, not really selling, and the price is holding at this point. I'm thinking to myself, okay, $9 or, around the $9 range is going to be a good place to enter. 660-ish at the most. Anything below that, I'm probably going to cut it, which obviously 660 is going to be like right around this range, which is right around the level of support. Look at some of these candlesticks. It's kind of indicating you that, hey, price is still pushing up. So you got all this stuff you're putting in together. So that was my initial decision to get into an entry because I wanted to long this trade, right? So I waited for that initial spike at the high of day, because it's going to bring eyes for traders to say, hey, look at this stock. Okay, perfect. Now, where's the pullback coming into? Is the pullback enough to where it's still hanging around the area of the volume weighted average price and show me that it's still bullish? Great. Okay, is there support there? It is. Great. So now I can manage my risk to reward. I'm knowing that I'm going to enter in from the $9 to $9.60 level. Probably my support is going to be once it hit $8. I'm just going to cut it loose and take my losses. But as you can see, based on what I looked for, that was right, and it stayed where it was. It held support, and then I waited for the next go around of to start to squeeze up, which is great. The vortex indicators showing that buyers were stepping in, and then all of a sudden, boom, this thing pops up to $9, $11, $12, which is good. Now, so that's obviously when I was taking my first trade and got my first trade of profits there. That was like a good $540 because I got in at 902, and then I got like a little 12% of gain with 500 shares. Not too bad. I was anticipating that kind of movement, so I took my shares, right? Took my position, took my profit. Now, obviously, later on in the day, for some strange reason, obviously, volume lets up, but the price action was still indicating that there was still strong support for buyers, in this stock throughout the day. So that got me going back into looking at it, especially around the power hour time frame. Okay, so that was a key indicator to kind of keep looking at it. Now, this right here is even during lunchtime, it started to make some more moves, which is a good indicator that, hey, price action is still great. Now, you had the big price pullback with the price action right here, which this is understandable because, one, this is like a lunchtime area time movement, right? You got between 9 to 10, which is like, 12 to 1 Eastern time. So, of course, the stock is going to either not move or move significantly. Either way it does. If it does move significantly, wait for the pullbacks because that's when, sellers are coming in to cash out on theirs or even, cut their losses. So obviously it squeezed up and then it began to pull back. The thing you got to understand here is that even though you have all this big area of price action moving right here, right, it's still above the volume weighted average price, which indicates to me that it is still bullish. Yeah, this is a big bearish pullback, but the price on this particular stock based on price action and volume is still in bullish territory, which of course is what caused me to kind of keep my eye on it until the end of the day. which is good because now I'm looking for what? Another entry point. And as long as my entry point, of course, if I'm going to long it, is going to be above the volume weighted average price, I'm going to still know that bulls are in control. And I didn't get back into this stock until about 12.80, to $12.82, which was like right around here. All right. And of course, I got back in right along this, this time frame here because pretty much my entry point for this I was looking for was to get into an initial pullback, right? And then let the pop ride. The only problem is that this kind of tricked me out a little bit here in this area. I thought it was starting to let up right a little bit, and then it started, spiking up again. And that's when I got in like the 280s. I got filled in there because I figured, hey, this is going to keep running. Then it's probably going to run a little bit more. But then I just grabbed a little bit of profit and then, cashed out, which is good because I wasn't waiting for it to break this high. That was going to be another level I was going to scale into, but it never reached there. You can kind of see level two that the sell orders are building up. So sellers weren't trying to let it really go above that price point. But my initial entry point was going to be around this next pullback that never occurred because it began to still continuously, hold that level. And so I decided to get in and waited to see if it would, aggregate. But as you can see, sellers started to creep up and creep up. And at this point is where I started to begin to sell, like right around the 1320s. Like it was like at the top of this wick. I was probably one of those sellers as well. So that was just kind of the thought process behind that, waiting on the entry point after another initial spike, especially after it's pulled back so much, but still above the volume weighted average price. And then it kind of just ran up on me. Buyers just stepped in. I guess they all wanted to get in at that good price, which I just kind of a little rode that way for a little bit and just took a little bit more. But you have plenty of time throughout the day to find areas of entries, whether you're going to be longing or shorting this stock, to get into it. And it was so much volatility here today, guys, that I encourage you to go just kind of review. If you didn't, trade this, that's fine. But if you, whatever you traded, kind of analyze your entries and exits and see exactly where, you were entering and exiting your trades and based on what your rules and your risk management, what your advantage is, if you were hitting that on the head correctly. I was based on my strategies, and I have, contingencies and backup plans to do other things if it doesn't go the way that I expect. This right here, I would say this was an 80% executed trade for me because it did everything I expected to do, even when I had to result to plan B because it didn't pull back as much as I thought it would. The second go around, I stuck to my plan. I kept my stop losses tight, but also kept my profit taking tight, especially since I had a pretty significant amount of shares, which is good because if I would have held on a little longer, I probably would have got a little lost and possibly gave back all the gains I had from this morning. So being disciplined with that helps out a lot, guys. But I just wanted to touch on the entries and exits of how I was looking into this trade and why I chose this one throughout the day. Just because it had, good areas of entries, it was pulling back to where I was expecting it to. Yeah, we had other great runners, but none of them really had any setups I was looking for. Most of today, I was kind of looking for cup and handles to be popping out and, kind of bringing some momentum into the market. But it's been a red market today overall, so it wasn't really much to kind of go off there. But other than that, I think it was a good trade. I'll post the trade results in the video too in a second, so you guys can kind of look at that and kind of see those little timestamps and everything. Again, I'm going to continue to try to work on getting back to the live trading for you guys. I just, again, been very busy with things going on. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Again, take your time, review your trades today, and hopefully this kind of give you some insight to kind of know what to look for and be able to manage your risk properly. Okay. Other than that, guys, stay green.